Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPa here again, and today we got the weekly reset for Destiny 2, which brought about a rather disappointing update for the Rite of the Nine event, and it's something that is incredibly frustrating for me because while I don't think it's a major deal, it just shows that Bungie continues to take these little half steps back, even though they have all the momentum with the game and are doing so much right. Recently, we got the reveal of the Edge of Fate DLC coming in the summer, which looks pretty good overall. We also got the Rite of the Nine event, which I think is a massive W for getting players into dungeons, especially who have never done it before with the new Explorer mode. We also got a brand new PvP mode with heavy metal and a sparrow that you can fire weapons from, which is absolutely insane, first of its kind in the game. And all of that has us heading in the right direction. But now, with the Rite of the Nine, we still have to run Spire of the Watcher because there's only one dungeon available for the first 3 weeks, and then another dungeon becomes available for 3 weeks after that, and then finally we'll get the last dungeon. Even though we have until July to finish this, I believe it lasts until the new DLC in the summer, but there is a title associated with it, and there are weapons that are only available for each dungeon. Because of that, it does feel like they are time gating all of this unnecessarily. I would much rather them have released Spire the Watcher last week, another dungeon this week, and then a third dungeon next week, and that way we'll have all of these to farm, and you can pick and choose which of them you want to do. At the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. Like I said, these are older dungeons. They've been done quite a bit over the course of the years. But for those who want to really work themselves up from the Explorer mode into the highest level, the Ultimate mode, where you're going to be completing these various challenges, it will take some time. And it will take time to learn the dungeons and become proficient with them. And you might have dungeons that you've already done and others that you've missed. And so that's really where the frustration lies. It doesn't feel like there's any reason for this change or for this to happen other than them simply spacing out the content to an extreme degree. Whereas I would say most players would be better off just waiting until all the dungeons are available, or at least doing one of them over the course of the next 3 weeks, just one time, in order to kind of learn it and get it down. It's not really, in my opinion, necessary to spread them out this far. Now, I will say one of the positives, we did get a new quest this week that allows you to get either one of the dungeon exotics from Spire or from Ghost, which is the either the Navigator trace rifle, or you can get the Hierarchy of Needs bow. And if you have both of those, or if you want something else, you can also get the Gallarhorn Catalyst. Gallarhorn was available for from Xur this last week, free to play. So definitely snag the Catalyst if you don't have that. Priority wise, I would say you would want the Gallarhorn Catalyst first as far as pure effectiveness goes. Then maybe you would get the Navigator, and then finally Hierarchy of Needs. Hierarchy of Needs is very fun, so if that's one that you would prefer, obviously that's what you should go with, but ultimately it's kind of up to you. And again, there's been some complaints from people about making these exotics available because you only have to complete a Explorer version of the dungeon, any of the dungeons, in order to get the exotic. And you can do the Explorer mode with matchmaking as well, which makes it incredibly easy. I wanted to showcase that. That's why you're seeing in the video me running Explorer mode, just to confirm that you just do one single run with matchmaking on, and you can get the new exotic. You can see the quest completion at the very end. And again, I understand people saying that, oh, this loot is not really valuable, but to be honest, nobody is using Navigator or Hierarchy in the majority of their builds right now. So it's not like these are insane weapons that people want to chase and will do the hardest modes of these dungeons just for that. Plus, you can get the catalysts for Hierarchy of Needs and Navigator from the final version of the dungeon, from the hardest version. So because of that, there is still reason to run those if you want to perfect these weapons and get them to be as good as they possibly can. So I don't really see the complaints there. I don't feel like we should be gatekeeping 3-year-old dungeon exotics that everyone who has them is going to, or everyone who wanted them is already going to have them in their arsenal. And if not, this is just a nice bonus for those who want to get a step forward. Again, nobody is using these exotics in any of their end game builds anyway, so it really doesn't change anything at the end of the day. So I think that's something, those are complaints that I just don't find to be holding that much weight at the end of the day. However, I do understand the frustration with the delays for us getting new dungeons to play, because that was the content most people were looking forward to this week, and knowing that next week we won't have anything else to look forward either is quite a bit frustrating. And I've mentioned that several times. It just these things are problematic because they just artificially extend the time that they want you to play Destiny, but at the same time limit the opportunity to earn specific weapons and limit the opportunity to earn the seal. So it just doesn't make sense. It feels very backwards, and it's a situation where I wish Bungie would get rid of these long time gates for some of their content. And I'm sure they have numbers showing that playtime, player retention is better because players will come back after a couple weeks to check out this new content when they otherwise might not have. It just feels very annoying more than anything, and that's something that I hope they remove from the game going forward. And if the content was good enough, if the Rite of the 9 dungeons were enjoyable enough, people would keep coming back regardless, trying to earn this loot that I think is pretty interesting when you can get adept versions from the chest, or you have better opportunities to get adept versions from doing the harder difficulty modes. And so that kind of combines to lead to people wanting to replay this content if they are looking forward to this loot, if the loot is good enough. And I think some of these weapons are really valuable at the end of the day and really worth the chase. So I just think that this was, like I said, unnecessary. I don't know, or I don't expect a change to this going forward. I don't think they will move up the timeline for these dungeons to be available. I do hope they take that into consideration. There's been a lot of backlash, a lot of people frustrated, and I would love to see them make a change so that way we can play another dungeon today, and then maybe a future dungeon next week as well, so that way it's not this huge spaced out process. Knowing that we won't get all 3 dungeons for like 6 weeks total is kind of mind-blowing to me, and something that, again, I felt like I wanted to rant about. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you annoyed like I am about this update? Are you looking forward to playing the dungeons? Have you beaten the dungeons at all? That's the one thing I'm very curious about. How many people have never finished a Spire of the Watcher but were able to do it with Explorer mode? I did see some folks who were able to get their first clear and also then move on to the harder modes, or they started off Explorer mode, they did it solo, and now they are wanting to do it solo flawless or solo in the harder modes as well. So there's a lot there that I think, again, this new event does pretty well, and I just wish they would kind of cut off some of the nonsense with the time gaining that they do over there at Bungie. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like the video as always, comment, subscribe, have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.